Good day, class. It's Miss Stock here. So I know we're all cooped up at home, but let's not make that an excuse to skip our math for today. So today we have a new lesson for you. We're going to learn about converting fractions to percentages. Now, before we begin, I would like to look over our objective for today. So let me pull that up. Okay, so if you can, read aloud with me. I can create percentages using a fraction relating the confirmed number of COVID-19 cases to the population of a county by the end of this video. Okay, so lots of words there. Let's break it down a little bit so we can understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish today. So we are going to be creating percentages, which this is a new word. We're going to go into that today, using a fraction relating the confirmed number of COVID-19 cases to the population of a county. So what this basically means is, for your county specifically, we're going to try to figure out what percentage of people in your county are confirmed for COVID-19. Now, if that sounds scary, I'm going to tell you now, these numbers are extremely small to work with. So hopefully that will give you some sense of ease during this time. So basically we're going to try to figure out if we can create percentages from fractions. All right, so before we begin, let's look at the word percentages. So this is the word that we will be going over today, percentages. Now, as you see, we have the word cent here, and that derives from the word 100. Or the number 100. So you can think of this as 100 cents make a dollar. There are 100 legs on a centipede. There are many ways to remember this, but just keep that in mind while we go into the step-by-step process for today. So to begin, I like to begin with a sort of easy problem, which will be 2 over 4 equals what percent? Now, you may already know the answer, but if you do, just keep it to yourself. We're going to see if you are correct. So the first thing you want to do when converting fractions to percentages is that you're going to divide the top number by the bottom number. Now, we're going to use a different name for these today. The top number is our numerator, which I'll put that right there, numerator for our top number. So in this case, it's 2. And then we're going to divide it by our divisor, or our denominator. And the denominator is the bottom number. So in this case, our numerator, the top number, will be 2. And our bottom number, the denominator, will be 4. So we'll put 4 over here. And we'll just work about this like we do typically with our division problems. How many 4s can go into a 2? Well, no 4s can go into a 2. So we're going to put our decimal and create a 0. So this is easier to work with. Now, how many 4s can go into 20? Take a moment and think. 5 4s can go into 20. So let's make sure that works out. We'll put our 5 up here. 20 minus 20 equals 0. So the answer to the division problem is 0.5. But we are not quite done yet. I'm going to move these for just a moment. Whoops. So what we just did is we divided our numerator by our denominator. That will be our first step. Our next step will be to multiply by 100. Now, do you remember how I mentioned that cent means 100? That's how you can remember this. So you're going to, let's just get rid of that real quick. We're going to take our 0.5, which we just got from that division problem. 0.5. And we're going to multiply it by 100. So when you're multiplying something by 100, that just means that you're going to move the place marker, which is our decimal here, by however many zeros you have. So in this case, we have 2 zeros, so we're going to move it back 1, 2. So then this becomes 50. And we'll move our place marker. So that means that the answer to your problem will be 50%. So, to go over the entire problem, 2 over 4 equals 50%. Now, if you're unsure if this is correct or not, we do know that this simplifies into 1 over 2, which is also known as half. And as you know, 2 halves make up a whole, so 50 plus 50 would equal 100. Great. So let's move on to a more complicated problem. we're going to do 3 over 9 equals what percent? So, going back to our step-by-step process here, we're first going to divide our numerator by our denominator, numerator being our top number, divided by our denominator, bottom number. So we have 9 divided by 3. Now, this is just a simple long division problem. How many 9s go into 3? 0 9s go into 3. So we will add a decimal. If you put it at the bottom, you got to put it above, and a 0. So how many 9s go into 30? Well, we don't have an exact number, but I do know that 9 times 3 equals 27. So let's try to subtract 27. We get 3, and we can put our 3 up here. Okay, so we'll add a 0, and now this is 30. So we can do the same thing. Minus 27 equals 3. Now, you'll begin to notice a pattern that if we add another 0, we're just going to get 30 again, and we'll have to subtract 27. So no matter how many times we do this, we're going to keep on getting 3, and we're just going to have to work with that number. So we're going to stop the division right there, and we'll just stick with our 3 repeating. So I'm going to erase that, and I'll just move this down here real quick. So our number was 0.3333 ... So the ... means there are more 3's after that. So now we are going to multiply this by 100. So multiplying by 100 means we're going to move this up, 2 spots. So 1, 2. So our new number becomes 33.3333. Well, that can't be our answer because that's too big to put in that small spot. So what we're going to do is, going to move this, we're going to add a third step into the equation for problems that are too big to fit into our answer spot. And that will be to round to the nearest 10th place. So the 10th place will be right here. And by rounding, we're going to look at the number that comes directly after it and see if it's larger than 5. If it is larger than 5, we're going to round up to a larger number. But if it's not larger than 5, we're just going to stay where we are. So the number after it is 3. That is not larger than 5. So we're just going to get rid of it. And this will be your answer. So the answer to 3 over 9 is 33.3%. And to find that, we just divided the numerator by the denominator. So 3 divided by 9, we found out that that was our really large repeating number. Multiply that by 100, and then we round it to the nearest 10th place to get this very clean looking number. So if you have a basic grasp of this concept now, we're going to move into today's activity, which has to deal with COVID-19. Going to erase that if you don't mind, but I'll keep our step process here. There we go. Okay. So, today's activity is we're going to be looking at counties and determining the percentage of people in the county that have COVID-19. So, I'm going to look at my county for this specifically, but we're going to do another one in just a second. So, my county is Hamilton County, and I found these numbers. I'll write them out in just a second. I found these on Google. For the confirmed numbers, I just looked up confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Hamilton County, and I wrote down the number. And then for the population, I just wrote population in Hamilton County, and I wrote down the number. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you write down the number instead of just checking online again, because the number could change for either of these. So these were the numbers that I recorded when it was earlier today. So this is what we're going to work with. So for our confirmed, that's going to go in our numerator, the top number, 624 confirmed. And I'll write confirmed here, just so we have that. And then our population is 338,011. And this is our population. So you can tell right away that these are much larger numbers than what we've worked with before. So this is a situation where I will let you use your calculator, but don't pull it out just yet. Let's rewrite the problem. So first we're going to divide our numerator by our denominator. 624 divided by 338,011. So, in this case, you can use your calculator. I'll show you how to write it in. So you're going to do 624 divided by 338,011. and 11. Now make sure that you write it in correctly. This is an area where a lot of people get mistakes as they just put it in the calculator wrong. So just double check. Yep, that's just what I want it to. And we get this really small number. So I'll write that down so it's easier to read. I'm just going to erase this real quick so we have some room. So the number is 0.00184694. Now this is way too large of a number to work with, but we're going to fix that in a second. First, we're going to go to our second step. Make sure you do this in the right order. So our second step is to multiply by 100. So for multiplying by 100, we have two places here. We're going to move our placeholder. So 1, 2. So the new number I will write down here is 0.1846094. Now this is still too large to work with, so we're going to round to the nearest 10th place. Let's find the 10th place. Here you are. And now you're going to look at the number after the 10th place to determine if we're rounding up or not. So we have an 8. Do you think we should round up or down? Yes, we should round up. So we're going to erase the end of this. And our 0.18 is going to become 0.2. And that is your answer. So, moving that aside, the answer to this would be, oops, I'm just going to move these for a second to make some room. The answer to this would be 0.2%. So as you can see, this is a very small number. It's smaller than 1%, and it is very, very tiny. So this is what we'd like to see, small numbers for this. So hopefully that makes you feel a little better already. So this is how you're going to do the larger numbers. Going through our process one more time, we're going to divide the numerator by the denominator, which we did that when we did 624 divided by 338,011. Then you will multiply by 10, which is right here. And finally, you're going to round to the nearest 10th place, which is done here. So keeping this process in mind, I do have a problem I would like you to try out. And that is the Marion County population versus confirmed. Or confirmed versus population. Whoops, those are going everywhere. So, I'll put our process here. And here are the Marion County numbers. Now, I'll write them down so they're easier to read. So, 4,263. There we go. Divided by the population, which is 964,582. So, take a moment using our strategies over here to determine what the Marion County is. I'll put our definitions up in case you need to see them. Okay, so pause the video now and work through this problem on your own. And when you think you have the answer, just click resume and I will reveal what the answer is. Okay, so hopefully at this point you've taken a second to go through our process and looked over our vocabulary to determine that the answer to this problem is 0.4%. So if you got this number, that means that you got the number. If you did not, make sure to go through the video and see maybe where you made a mistake. I'm going to put my work for this below in the video description, so if you do need a guide, feel free to check that out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all learned something. Have a great day. Not so fast. I forgot to go over our objective one last time. So, before you click off of the video now, let's just go over our objective to confirm that we understood the lesson entirely. So, here's our objective once more. And I'm going to read over it one more time just to make sure that you understood all of the concepts. So, our objective for today is, I can create percentages using a fraction relating the confirmed number of COVID-19 cases to the population of a county by the end of this video. So, looking over today's assignment, were we able to understand percentages with fractions? I would say so. We seem to have a pretty thorough process here. And then finally, were we able to relate this to the confirmed number of COVID-19 cases in the population? Well, as you can see here, here's our confirmed in the population, and we were able to find a percentage pretty easily using our process. All right, now for real, that really is all. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.